Good evening and welcome back to the St. Petersburg By Night podcasting network. Tonight, we present to you our Vampire the Masquerade Chronicle, Bloody Strings.
Welcome to another St. Pete by Night revamped production. The following is rated for mature audiences and may contain graphic themes that will be distressing to some viewers. As always, we recommend you ensure the safety and well-being of yourself and those around you at all times. Viewer discretion is advised.
Hello and welcome to St. Pete by Night. Tonight we're playing Bloody Strings, one of many of the chronicles here at St. Pete. And I am Devlin, Rebel Storyteller. These are my lovely players. Please introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Kendall the Elemental on TikTok, and I'll be playing Maggie the Hakata.
Hello, I am Lekar the Artificer on TikTok, and I am playing, once again, the well-dressed ne'er-do-well, Matthew Halden of Toreador.
Hey, I'm Mew, and I'll be playing Sophie Clews, the Malted Milkshake Malkavian.
Thank you very much. Now, last we left off, the group was preparing for the Gala coming up. Possible confrontation with Louie, an old acquaintance that seems to be haunting Mr. Halden. But before we get to the night of, some point between then and now, we're going to follow Maggie and Sophie. What is it the two of you are doing this evening?
A seance?
Where's the seance happening?
Well, probably at one of the graveyards that is in St. Pete that they would have access to. Because that is where Maggie would know the veil would be thinnest in order to speak to anyone that may be there.
Very good. Then we will set the scene at you guys at a nearby cemetery. Not too far away from where the ascent is. You find this evening that the place is rather empty. You can hear distant sounds of some of the creatures that prowl in the night around this time, but mostly just the cool, fresh air of the evening as you arrive.
Okay. So Maggie would pull a bag over her shoulder as they are dropped off in this area and start walking one of the paths down into the cemetery further in so that they are in an area that is less seen by the road. She assumes that Sophie is following her.
Yes, Sophie is carrying what looks like the case to a musical instrument along with her purse.
Yeah, Maggie has a couple of things on her. There is and she is carrying a cane. Occasionally, she will use on it, press it against the ground, watch the earth give, and then pull it back up, kind of messing with it as she keeps walking. Obviously, she doesn't need it, but she will walk and walk, and then once they get to a spot, she'll kind of look around, like assessing the area, see if they're far enough away to make sure that there aren't any people there. And she will start pulling out what looks like a picnic blanket out of her bag, start spreading it out. Once it's fully spread out, she will sit, start pulling various implements out of her bag, and set the cane down in front of her and look up at Sophie expectantly.
Yes, I did manage to borrow this from Drake. Luckily, with his hygienic practices, I don't think he's gotten a chance to clean it, so it does still have some of the blood from what happened to poor Edwin. I figured maybe it might help. I mean, his cane is very good, but sometimes, things touched by the death, and so I brought it just in case. I'm sure Drake won't mind.
Right. All right. You brought a trombone.
Well,
saxophone?
I think it's an alto sax, actually.
Ah. All right. So what was it you exactly wanted to do, Sophie?
I don't know if he's still hanging around, but since we really don't know what happened, I was hoping that maybe he could give us some clue as to what happened to him, or if there was anyone really out for him that he could point us to, or, I mean, really anything. I would just like something to try to help Duncan if we can.
All right. Maggie will kind of set up the instrument and the cane in front of her, and she will start her ritual of the knowing stone.
Would you refresh my memory on what that is?
Let me give you the exact wording.
Mm-hmm.
It identifies locations and existences of specific ghosts. It requires 1 rouse check to resolve plus oblivion. It's from the Fall of London. You must know the ghost's name.
Go ahead.
Okay. Oh, I got a stain.
I'll have to remember to go over that at the end of the session.
I got 2 successes.
Okay, just one. Okay. Sorry, the results for that were...
I have the specifics. I hate the way these books are formatted. This was on
Okay.
a sample character sheet in that book.
Fun. Alright, yeah, so 2, that covers the... Yeah. So as you are performing the ritual, everything goes off smoothly. When something should be happening, you do not get an answer. If Edwin is a... I think if Edwin does exist in some spectral capacity, it is not as a ghost.
Maggie will pull her fingers out of the cup and kind of wipe them off on the wash rag that she has nearby. He does not exist in a spiritual capacity.
Well, that's really disappointing. That would have helped quite a bit.
I imagine it would have, but our kind don't usually leave behind those sorts of imprints unless it's very specific circumstances.
I suppose I just thought it was a bit more common with all of those things being attached to people in the Coterie.
Oh, it's more like people that have died around us rather than what we are dying around us. Maggie will remove the stone from the cup, wipe it off, and drain it. Is there anything else?
Oh, well, I mean, I don't know. Can we twirl his staff a little? Maybe use some memories stored in there, or maybe we just didn't bring the right objects. Maybe we could use something else. I mean,
I'm afraid he doesn't exist in a capacity in order to answer us in that form. If he does exist in a spiritual capacity, it's probably deep within oblivion.
do you think that Shade Storm might come back in the future? I mean, perhaps
Yes.
he was taken up into it like a tornado.
Sophie, he will not give you the answers you're looking for.
I'm trying to do something. I've seen that Duncan will do everything he can to help make sure that I survive, but I want the same. I want to be able to do something.
Then we will do something.
But we haven't got any clue about what could have happened, or even if we're still in danger. I mean, whatever came after Edwin, perhaps it has something to do with his dark dealings that, you know, we were slightly involved in.
You mean his past?
Yes, I mean, whatever he was doing that wasn't exactly Camarilla. But, I mean, what happened with Gray, what if it was similar? I mean, what if it's going to happen to us one at a time? Maybe, I mean, hopefully not, but I'm sure it would be quite a shock if I was just flayed before you. But it might happen. We don't know.
It would be quite a shock. And it would be very strange.
I do apologize if that happens. I would never want to
Are you apologizing ahead of time for your inconvenient death?
Well, it's just I would not want to have that effect on anyone. Especially you. I consider you a dear friend now, and I would never want to do that in front of you, where it might stick within your memories, and then 30 years from now you're enjoying a nice cup of blood and relaxing, and you think back to this time that your friend got flayed.
I will be frank. I could only wish for a friend to die in such an interesting way.
Oh, well, why would you wish that upon your
Because
friend?
why would you want to die in a conventional, boring way? Leave an impression.
It's not always good, though. I mean, I've seen that, and it sticks with you. I mean, before I was what I am now, my poor friend Noree, I can still hear the screams that she let out to this day, even though it's been so long.
I suppose we may have different views on it. Before I was what I am now, I was getting my degree in forensics. I have seen incredibly gory and stomach-churning scenes. I suppose I've grown a callus to it, but it didn't make it any less fascinating.
Yes,
It just meant that I wanted these people to be remembered, because the people that did these things to them tried to make sure they couldn't be.
I have heard of shell shock. I do hope that isn't what's affected you in a similar sense.
I believe I have gone through the phases of grief when it concerns this. Now I am at acceptance. I know what I am. I know what I do. I can only wish the best for those who are coming into the same area. Shell shock would be an acceptable way of describing some of the initial coming into this. But it's a different experience from what I understand. Also, from what I'm able to gauge, it's a cultural thing. Death, grieving. It's all very nuanced. Sometimes it's private. You seem like a private person.
Oh, I don't know about that, really. We used to hang, well, not me specifically, but, houses used to hang, gold stars, to help deal with death. So in that way, it was really public. But I unfortunately, I do hope, if I perish, that it's in quite a boring way with you nearby there to ferry me on.
I'll make sure your story is remembered. But I hope that we are not approaching that day soon, Sophie.
I hope not either. I don't really have much of a story yet.
Everyone has a story.
I do
You
hope
just
that,
no. Sorry.
No, go right ahead.
Most people don't consider their stories be stories because they've read them so many times.
Oh well, I always enjoy rereading. My favorite book, though.
What's that?
Oh, it's it's a bit silly, really. It's this old French book, Lovers Never Lost. It was actually introduced to me by Duncan. And I quite enjoy it. But yes, I do hope that Matthew is doing well with the situation.
He is not. Do you have that knife on you?
Yes, you don't think he would attempt to hurt himself? Should we keep him away from weapons? Is that...
Oh no, I just diverged topic completely. I was recalling that it's a fetter, and I was curious as to what's attached to it.
Oh, would you like to take a look at it?
If you don't mind.
Yes, Sophie will raise her skirts to the, knife garter piece that she had before and takes the knife that Duncan gave her and hands it to Maggie.
Maggie will take the knife, kind of balance it between her hands as she activates Oblivion Sight and looks around to see if there's anything attached to it.
There is something attached to the knife. Something. You see a not a shade like you've been encountering, but you do see like a shadow that seems to expand from your own as you activate the ability, and it does seem to be linked to its shadow. Seems to be like connected, like Peter Pan style, to this dagger. I will say you do sense like a nothing physically to you or anything to that effect, but you do feel something off about this. The thing clinging to this dagger, like a lingering rage almost.
Passion. And she will look to the Wraith. Do you have anything to say?
He deserved it.
Which one?
The boy would listen.
I see. Maggie is going to pull out the other knife she has, and she's going to start doing the cutting ties ritual.
Go ahead. Now, typically, with cutting, with cutting ties, it's usually, this was designed for people being anchored to something, something anchoring to a person, which is not normal. That's why it typically required the stabbing of a person without the ceremony is executed. You are currently trying to sever from an object.
According to what the ritual says, it requires stabbing the fetter.
Right. So as I was saying, you are going to attempt to stab the knife.
I'm stabbing a knife with a knife.
Right. Okay. Go ahead and finish the ceremony roll.
For success.
Okay. You take the knife in a very similar style of the series that shall not be named. You stab the dagger with another dagger. Obviously, you don't have the general puncture you typically would, but it does break the initial dagger with the strike. As you watch the shadow seep into it and dismantle it entirely. When this happens, you hear a painful roar that fades out, like at the end of an orchestra. And then it's silent again.
She is going to activate Binding Fetter to see if anything remains.
The victim of the dagger has been freed.
Okay. She's going to put the pieces of the dagger in her bag. I think that is enough.
Well, that was
He said the boy deserved it.
that was supposed to open up a haven, actually.
It was a key?
Yes, Duncan said to wait to open it until he was passed on, as there were some, I believe he had some photos in there or magazines. He didn't. It would be awkward if he spoke to me after I'd seen it. I mean, not that there's anything wrong with that, but it was his desire. So I was waiting. If things didn't work out, that I would go by there and check after. But he also did say that it was very precious and that I should keep it close to help protect me. So this is a bit unfortunate.
I am very confused. How is this a key to anything?
Well, I have the letter with me, and Sophie will pull out Duncan's letter, and hand it to Maggie. I wasn't really going to share it with anyone because after he passed on, I was going to look at those coordinates and take a look myself and perhaps store anything that he didn't want other people to see away before others perhaps came in. Maybe burn some things or just store them.
All right. Maggie's going to read the letter.
As you review the letter, it essentially is an apology and an explanation for what he's done. He gives coordinates and says that there is something here, my actual haven. It does not actually say anything about the dagger. But the dagger was found with the letter.
I assumed the dagger was a key, like some books have funky little keys. They're like trinkets, old desk types where you can press in a certain edge and then it unlocks something and you press something else. It didn't. Perhaps I was just stupid, but it seemed to make sense. I mean, kindred always have weird things like this.
Did Duncan kill his father?
Maggie, if I'm honest with you, Duncan's already in a lot of trouble.
This isn't to get him into any trouble. This is me asking for clarification.
I just feel by telling you I'm maybe not harming him more than I was. Before, when I brought you that skull, and I told you how Duncan had staked someone to help Edwin to have them pose as Edwin when we were going to bring Edwin's put a body in front of the people that wanted him, and he was going to be in torpor. I did a bit of a white lie. That skull's not some poor chap that was
the skull that had fangs that you gave me.
Yes. Well, that is Dad, I guess. You see, it was really more of a way to protect us, though. You see, we had been in that, I suppose, my Sire's haven, if you can call it that, for so long, and I never liked it down there, and I was always trying to get out, but Duncan really Well, they were very fond of each other, and Duncan at first didn't care for leaving. You see, my sire, I guess, had some sort of vision or something of these large attacks, and so he was very interested in nuclear technology and having that haven with scrubbers, with the rabbits, so that you could live there for a long time and never run out of blood or anything. And well, Duncan, I guess, had always assumed that it had happened, whatever bad thing Kristoff had seen. But then one I convinced Duncan to go check in Kristoff's private chambers to see, and I was suspicious that Kristoff wasn't ever telling us the full truth. And Duncan found some Morse codes that I couldn't really read because I don't know Morse code, but Duncan also found things like new music and like written, and things that didn't quite make sense in our situation. And we assumed that Kristoff was in contact with someone on the surface, and it really made us quite angry. And it was a little difficult to plan an escape when your sire can hear most of everything that you say. So, one day, night, as one does, I decided I wasn't going to take it anymore. So I planned to overload the reactor and kill everyone. But it didn't happen. Kristoff was very upset, and he was going to open my cage and presumably maybe end my final life. But Duncan helped by staking him. And it really could have stopped there. It could have. Maggie, can you see when a kindred has consumed another? Can you specifically, do you have that ability?
Not that I'm aware of. Should I be concerned about this in regards to you, Sophie?
No, I really suppose I shouldn't lie to you. I've thought about it. I thought about lying just now and to tell you that I killed Kristoff. I kind of wanted to in the moment, but he really seemed pathetic there, just laying there with a stake in his heart. But Duncan was quite upset, and he said that that Kristoff would never stop if we got out, if we left. So Duncan made sure that Kristoff couldn't follow us. And I think that might be why he confessed to the whole Edwin thing, because if someone were to look at him, they might see what he did. I was going to kill Kristoff, though. I was going to kill all of us, but Duncan kind of stopped that, which what it ended up being good because now I'm here and now we're friends, right? Maggie, we're still friends.
Yes, we're friends.
Thank you. I apologize for lying to you. I was just trying to protect Duncan. I didn't want anyone to think that he was a bad person because he's not. It was really more of a self-defense thing.
I don't mind it when kindred lie to me. It is expected behavior. However, I would like to, she kind of looks at the fragments of the knife. Perhaps we should go looking for an actual key?
Or do you think it would look like a key?
I think it could be a key or a password or anything. There's another pause. Sophie, are you sure Duncan is Duncan?
Well, I mean, of course. He's Duncan. Unless
Those that action you described can have consequences.
Are you saying that there could be some sort of doppelganger that is mimicking Duncan, and the real Duncan is also imprisoned somewhere?
No. I'm just saying, according to what the records show and what the research I've been able to find, when you consume someone like that, you take on parts of them. And sometimes they consume you.
Well, Duncan must be Duncan. Kristoff would never be self-sacrificial like that. That's just not how he was. Duncan is Duncan. He has to be Duncan.
Okay. However, he has likely been scried since being taken in custody.
Unfortunately, that might be why he's going to be, unfortunately made to atone for Edwin's death, even though it's not what happened.
It is hard to punish people that are not like us for killing us. There always needs to be someone to blame.
It would almost feel better in a way if he was going to go down for what he actually did. This just feels wrong. No one even missed Kristoff anyway. It's not like anyone came barging in to tell us all that nothing had happened. He was perfectly content to rot down there.
Have you mourned him?
Kristoff, what is there to mourn?
He was your sire.
He was a bag of cat feces.
A bag of cat feces you feel very strongly about.
Well, yes, he was awful and horrible. And I'm glad he's gone.
Maggie will reach into her bag and hand Sophie a handkerchief.
Thank you. I do
It is
apologize.
okay. It is okay to mourn bad people, especially when they are such a strong aspect of your life. Grief is complicated.
I suppose we should return to Matthew and see how he is doing. I also need to return this alto saxophone before Drake notices it's gone.
He has a very low attention span. I highly doubt he's even noticed it's gone. He hasn't even cleaned it yet. To delicately help put things back in the cases and tucked away and start folding up the picnic blanket.
Did you happen to dispose of that nasty little skull?
I still have it.
Well, at your earliest convenience, I'll be pleased when it's gone forever.
Would you like it cremated or buried?
Which is most likely for a spirit to come back and haunt you.
I'm not going to answer that, Sophie.
Well, whatever it is, do the opposite.
Alright.
You gather your things, return the saxophone, and move on with your evening. And from there, we'll jump a couple of nights later. As each of you find yourselves at the ascent. About a couple hours before it is time to go to the gala in the neutral zone.
Maggie will sweep in that full green gown that she has now and a basically a robe on top of it. Her hair is done up and there's the neat coils down her back and over her shoulder. Makeup's done. And there is a purse that is slung over her shoulder. It's large enough to carry various items for various activities. And her heels will click against the floor. She looks around. Matthew.
Matt is going to come out of one of the rooms in black suit, black on black, a somewhat sheen tie, and he'll be buttoning his sleeves. Maggie, you look fantastic.
Thank you.
Sophie will swing in from one of the back rooms in her floor-length blue chiffon gown with the gray clutch, and walk over to Maggie and Matthew. Maggie, your hair looks absolutely stunning. And Matthew, you look mostly the same as always, but that is, it's a good look. You really are always just so well put together.
Well, as this rotund Frenchman once said, if it's not Baroque, don't fix it.
I see. Thank you, Sophie. You look lovely as well.
Thank you. I've heard from the band that we'll be in setup a little before the actual gala starts. Would the two of you like to come for some preparation, or will you be fashionably late?
I think I may come in during the preparation. Matthew, will you be coming alongside, or will you be fashionably late?
Oh, I have to go pick up my date. She will be devastated if I get there before her.
I see. So the two of you will be making an entrance. Understood.
Yes.
I am quite excited to see her. I've heard a bit.
She's something. If you think I've got charm, trust me.
All right. My plan going in is to keep an eye on exits and talk to people to see if they can pick out any odd face while I'm in there. Perhaps to make room for a smooth exit.
Yes, that reminds me. Just before I forget. And he will take out the earpieces that we have. Just in case.
Maggie will take one. Tuck it in.
Sophie will take one. During my set, I might have to pop this out, just be aware, but from the stage, I might have a good view of some of the faces, so I'll let you know if there's anyone particularly suspicious.
Just keep an eye out for I have a feeling he's going to come to me. So just keep an eye for anybody else.
He's been banding together with hunters. Is there anything in particular that we should worry about on that front?
Well, considering what he's been doing to get my attention, I'm thinking the focus is going to be on me.
It's too bad we don't have someone with a rifle on a roof. That would have been very helpful.
Yeah, this time around.
Where's Drake?
I haven't seen him the past 2 nights, actually.
Yes, it's been gloriously quiet.
Well, we're going to be using him to infiltrate security.
This does worry me a bit. I know he was involved somewhat with some of the people that Gray was. I hope something hasn't happened to him.
Well,
at this moment, Matt, you get a text.
Matt will take his phone out of his pocket and check it.
It's from Drake. Had something come up. I'll be arriving late.
he'll just roll his eyes. Well, I guess one diva's not enough for this group, and now we need two. Mr. Monahan is going to be late.
You don't seem to be enjoying the competition.
I have one narcissistic pretty boy to deal with. 3 is just a headache.
It's been a while since we've seen that narcissistic pretty boy.
Yes, no straighten his tie. I'm the only one we need.
Right, well, Maggie, Jerry should be here any second. We'll go in the van to the manor.
All right. Maggie will look over at Matthew before she leaves. Don't do anything reckless.
Me? Never.
I'm serious.
There's not going to be any moving trucks there, is there?
No, but I'm sure you'll find one.
Maybe I should have rented one of those instead.
I'm serious, Matthew.
Look, the plan for tonight is... there is no plan.
I'm aware. But I'm asking you very nicely to not do anything reckless.
I promise that I will, to the best of my abilities, do nothing life-threatening to myself or others if it can be helped.
Sophie will start to stealthily try to put knives near the kitchen counter into a drawer.
Maggie
Give me
will
that
just give
himself.
Matthew a look and then head off with Sophie.
That's 3 successes.
They're a little caught up in their conversation. Sure. We'll say you put a couple knives in your bag.
Oh, I saw I was putting them in the drawer.
Oh, in a drawer. I apologize, I misheard you. Sure. You put the knives in a drawer. All right. So, the two of you head on up north. Matthew. About this time, your rental shows up. You go outside, and your limousine takes you not too far away to Miss Alvarez's establishment. How is Carmen dressed this evening?
Carmen is going to be in a floor-length number basically like kind of like a tulip skirt, like where the front of the legs are exposed, but the just trails in the back. It's a black dress with a rose lace overlay that cuts off as like bell sleeves at the elbow, and very Chapel Roan-ish like makeup tonight with like the watercolors at the VMAs sort of thing. But her hair is just down as always, and she's got to reflect her mood, she's got her black thorn necklace on, so she's also not appearing very pleased at the moment. But she would be waiting in front of the establishment for the limo to pull up, and is already on her phone, just mindlessly texting as she waits.
The driver pulls up, steps out, and walks over to the side, lets you in.
Good. And she'll climb on in, and before she shuts the door, she'll look at her front like security and everything. Have Jennifer or Domingo or whatever the fuck his name is come in like 2.5 hours. Just drive around. I'll send the address.
Will do.
And then she'll close the door.
Driver moves around and begins to pull off. The window pulls up to give you some privacy.
Matthew?
Miss Alvarez?
Good manners.
You look phenomenal.
As always. Are we going to have a problem with your little friend tonight, by the way?
I would say no, but given his penchant for dogging me at every step.
Well, if he pisses me off again, I might humble him a little bit, but that'll be later. Where are all the pretty ones always brew, huh? So is this mark of is this Kine going to be there for sure?
Honestly, who knows? This could very well be a trap just for me, but it'll be just for me. So, with any luck, no one else has to worry about any other problems, and I will guarantee that.
Are you confident in finishing the job?
Oh, it ends tonight, one way or another.
Is this the confidence you brought in at Elysium that one night?
Very much so.
So you did do it? I didn't think you would have the balls to actually kill the Keeper in Elysium, but bravo.
Oh, no.
That wasn't you then?
No. We still can't figure out what that was.
Are you going to get in trouble for it?
No. We've been free and cleared.
How?
And he just gives this kind of mocking smile, almost very cheesy grin. The person who did it confessed.
That's dumb. God,
Well,
there are such idiots being made into kindred these days. They don't even know how to do this right. Boring. What was it? What I heard that your Malkavian friend, was it her?
Someone connected.
Ugh. Well, I guess if they're going to be a lamb for the slaughter and be stupid about it, that's their prerogative. Let's just go kill this fucker who ruined that mural.
Oh yes, that is the main reason I want to speak to him.
And I've got a lot of stuff I gotta do tonight, so let's not dally. I mean, you can drag it out, but just like, I've got places to be tonight too.
Oh, absolutely. I would never want to keep you.
And she'll just go back to her phone.
Your driver takes you north. First to arrive. Maggie and Sophie, did you go together or separately?
I believe Maggie was hitching a ride with us in the band van, but of course she could make her own accommodations with the doctor if she wished.
I don't think my ghoul's back in town yet. So,
Alright, you ride together. It doesn't take too long before you finally arrive at the venue. The band starts grabbing instruments, taking them toward the inside. You see there are already some people starting to come in. Most people are not allowed into the building yet. It seems this is before the full opening. You see that there are some reporters. You see that there are a few like art snobs and a couple people who are just looking for something to do tonight. As you start making your way toward the building, kind of taking a side entrance with the band. Here we are. Give me wits and awareness rolls.
I am activating heightened senses.
4 successes off the dome.
Okay.
Sophie's also
Plus
going
4.
to be sense the unseen as much as possible.
Okay. As you guys are going about, you can tell there are already, you come around, there's like this little patio area with a couple of benches. The band seems to be taking the instruments through this entrance. You can tell that above you there is a balcony. Sophie, you can hear some murmuring, but you have sense the unseen, not heightened senses, right? So you don't hear anything immediately. Maggie, as you're approaching, you do hear a couple of voices. You do not an entire conversation so much, but you do recognize at least a couple. Well, specifically, you recognize the voice of Victor Adams, seeming to have a conversation with someone up there. Something about another art piece, a show he'll be hosting sometime in the near future. As you make your way in with the band. They bring them into this kind of lounge dining area where the band is kind of setting themselves up in the corner. You see there are a couple people still kind of making sure everything's just right before the opening. You see 2 individuals, one wearing a very dark, fine-looking suit with a red tie, their hair black and kind of slicked, very broad, very tall, very kind of carved features, talking to another individual who looks like they're probably in their late 50s, early 60s. Balding a little on top. Decent shape for their age, but wearing kind of like a brown suit and tie. Very simple. The two of them kind of have their backs to you for the most part, talking to each other. Details that you can kind of tell with the heightened senses, they seem to be discussing cost mostly, things about making sure there's not going to be too much issue with law enforcement, things on that, details regarding the event. But nothing super exciting. And both of you notice kind of coming down the steps and then turning another way out of line of sight. You saw Mr. Hodges step out of you. What do you do now that you're here?
Maggie is going to disperse, and if there are like various people that are already filtered in, she's going to start just going around making small talk. Probably keep like Victor and in her periphery. She doesn't really know Mr. Hodges that well outside of the one time he was a staked present on their doorstep. So.
Mm-hmm. So you're going where exactly?
She's gonna be mingling
Okay.
near Victor so she can keep an eye on him.
So you're heading upstairs.
Yes.
Okay. And what does Sophie do?
Sophie is going to tell the rest of the band she's going to check some of the sound levels around the lounge and surrounding rooms while they're setting everything up. And she's going to just double check that some of the stakes that were pre-placed are still there.
Okay. As you are checking spaces, first give me a dex and stealth to make sure you're not spotted looking into those.
Five successes with a critical success.
Okay.
I found another one. No, I'm kidding.
It somehow became 3. All right. Yeah. Stakes are still in place. They don't seem to have been tampered with. You notice, though, as you're kind of making sure everything's set and in place, there is some music that is being played. Very soft kind of background music. Some places do that when the live music isn't currently being played, but it's kind of a cabaret. There is something familiar to it that you can't quite place. The voice is very soft. The music is just quiet enough that you can't make out too much, but the style is very familiar, almost a welcoming sensation within you seems to come from it.
Sorry, what was the source of that?
Like a audio setup, the same setup that you'll be using when you're doing sound and stuff like that. Just like some background noise when you guys aren't playing to fill the venue. You are not familiar with the artist, though. Yeah.
Once she has checked that those are okay and potential maybe nooks that she could hide in if things go south. She'll return to the rest of the band and start doing the sound checks.
Okay. As you guys are... Well, Maggie, you head upstairs. You make your way up top. You head past the hall corridor that you guys found the bedrooms in, head outside, and you stand on this balcony that seems to wrap around the building, or at least two sides of it. Immediately in front of you, the windows are closed. There's no way to look out from this balcony from inside. As you step out, you see that there is a cage seated in the balcony with four isolated sections where you see these very beautiful 2 men and 2 women pretty much stripped to their underwear. Very beautiful looking, almost lingerie. They seem to be mostly behaving differently. One seems almost sluggish, her eyes kind of heavy. One of the men seems to be almost dancing by themselves, kind of off in their cage. One seems a little jittery, and the other one seems fine. They are kind of carrying themselves with a higher posture, and kind of observing the space, but not making eye contact, very humbly sitting in their position. As you see somebody come up, a young woman dressed in some like gold and silvers comes up and reaches in, takes the hand of one of them, and begins to drink from them. And they pull back, and you watch them as their eyes kind of flutter for a moment, and they smile, and they go on about their day, about their way. You see there are a couple of people up here, not many, but off to the side, you see a man in red. A very fine red suit, standing across from Victor, who is wearing a very... It is a suit, but he is not wearing a shirt underneath the jacket. And the suit has some like golden I lost the word for it. There's some gold kind of stitched into a pattern going around kind of like the collar heading down the chest.
Embroidery.
Filigree.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. As he does not turn toward you, doesn't seem to have noticed you yet. Is there anything you wish to explore in this? Any questions or anything you wish to explore in this scene?
Since this is overlooking like the main part of the floor, or is it?
This is more overlooking outside. So if like you look to the left and kind of step toward the edge of the balcony, you're overlooking a garden. This is completely closed off so that you cannot be seen from the inside or really anyone from anywhere outside. It's meant to be a kindred safe zone, so to speak.
I see. Okay, got it. She is going to look over the various other people that are up there with her, and she's probably going to just walk up to someone and start talking to them. Just like lighthearted small talk, so that she's able to continue eavesdropping.
Okay.
Because she may not know Victor very well, but she has seen enough to realize he's a problem.
kind of riding off of your previous role as you are kind of engaging in small talk with a couple of people who are clearly on something from the blood that they consumed. You can hear Victor. He mentions a new art piece, but doesn't mention the name. This is probably the greatest set he's ever made. This might be the final project for Victor's Angels. Things along that line. But he doesn't ever get into any specific details. They mostly talk financials, things on that line. As you guys are in your spaces, okay, the limo pulls up as the doors finally open and people begin to pour into the exhibit. The driver comes around, opens the door for the two of you.
Matt will get out and hold out a hand for Carmen.
She will put her hand in his and carefully step out, making sure her dress is perfectly smoothed out, and just take a look around. Let's make this quick.
Sooner but better.
And she'll head on in with him, and just because she isn't very much into the art being the focus, she's gonna pop awe.
You pop off. Most of the kind that are present almost immediately turn their attention toward you.
That's better. Well, lead me in.
Right. And he will escort her into the building.
You step into the entryway. The left is the pool room. To the right is the lounge where you can kind of peek in and you see Sophie with the band preparing to start their set. You notice the tall individual wearing the black suit, which neither of you recognize. However, the man in the brown suit has already moved on. This is about what you can see from here, and you can also go upstairs where you do see has a couple of ropes kind of around it that looks like it's recently moved, indicating that this is where the exhibit is located.
Once he clocks Sophie, he will kind of just look around and whisper, "We're in." So she hears him on the headset, or in that earpiece.
Who are you talking to?
The rest of the group is here.
Where?
And he will just kind of nod towards the lounge where Sophie is.
Oh, she's adorable. I remember seeing her in the video cameras. You know, right before I kicked you out. Do you want to go say
Yes.
hi?
Might as well.
Okay.
Just so. And yes, I'm sorry for him. I
No.
would.
No. You're not the one that needs to apologize.
True.
Carmen will head over with Matt over to Sophie. So you're Sophie.
Oh, yes. Hello, you must be Carmen.
I
I've
am.
I've heard so much about you. You look really stunning.
Thank you. And you look so lovely in my hand-me-downs.
Yes, thank you so much for letting us borrow these.
You're so
clothing.
welcome. I like to do charity every now and then.
All right. Well, I will have it cleaned before it's brought back. It.
Oh, you can keep it. You can keep it. Consider it a
Oh, no,
gift from
that's
me to
fine.
you.
Oh, I could never. I would never take that debt on.
Oh,
willingly.
no, trust me, no debt required. It's something I would never wear myself. I got it from a cousin.
Oh, you don't have the hips for it. I see.
Oh, honey. I have the hips for it. I've got too much hip, unfortunately, for it. I'm not as narrow and petite as you are, unfortunately.
Oh yes. Well, I've heard that after my time, people had much more access to other foods with more processing. But if you don't mind, I really do have to get to my set. But it's lovely to meet you. Matthew has been so accurate with his descriptions. So have a lovely evening, and I hope to see you again when I'm done with my singing.
Of course, of course.
Sophie. Give me a charisma and subterfuge.
That's 2 successes, I think, with a possible bestial failure.
Okay. No real damage dealt, but that did sting a little bit, Carmen. As you break off to make your performance.
I like it when they bite back.
Also, go ahead and give me charisma and performance, as it is with your specialty, as we start to get into the point where you can do your set.
With a blood surge, that is 5 successes.
Nailed it. What kind of sound is coming from Sophie and the band?
So it is a full jazz band, and she is singing Rum and Coca-Cola. So it's a good kind of low-key party vibe, but it's enough that if people wanted to dance a little bit, they could, but it's just a good early start to the night where everyone's coming in and it's making everyone feel welcome. It's not too heavy yet.
Okay. The music begins playing. It sounds great. Everybody coming in, breaking off and kind of doing their mingling. Some people heading up. Carmen and Matthew, where do you go from here?
Wherever Matt leads, because she is fully distracted by the singing now.
Matt's going to lead Carmen out and look around to try to find where Maggie is. And if he doesn't see her right away, he'll kind of whisper again, Where are you at, Your Highness?
Upstairs.
And he'll kind of just eye the steps.
Do I need to come down?
Nope, headed to you.
That ex we were talking about before is also here.
Got it. And he will lead Carmen up the steps.
Are we going upstairs now? Fine.
So, as you head up the stairs, let's see here. You head up the stairs. As you kind of turn to look around, you see the little signs off in the corner where it looks like the primary exhibit is, but to the left of it, as you look back, you see on display one of the largest Rembrandts that you've seen, one that you still unclear as if it might be an original or just a really well done copy. It is one that you definitely stole. Let's see. As on display before entering the exhibit is Rembrandt's Night Watch.
Matt will lean in and kind of look to see if it's one of his.
And this is one from your collection.
That son of a bitch.
What? It's... Oh, yeah, it's so... oily.
Yeah, it wasn't my best.
You did this?
Yeah, actually I did.
Isn't this like supposed to be like some famous painting or something like that? I don't know art very well.
Yeah, you could say that. It's
Like a Picasso?
Rembrandt, actually.
Oh, I don't know who that is.
Don't worry. You're about to know even less.
Okay. Why are we up here too, by the way?
Have to meet up with one of the others.
Gotcha. Which one?
Miss Haywood.
Gotcha. And she'll look around for the other redhead.
As you...
Maggie will... Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah.
Maggie will turn away from the conversation she had been in. Almost glancing over at the stairs again and realizing they had wandered over to the exhibit. She'll smile, excuse herself from the conversation, and start making her way over. Hello.
Oh,
It's a pleasure.
nice to meet you, Miss Haywood.
Ah, you must be Miss Alvarez. It's a pleasure.
Yeah, Matt's cousin. I know some of your cousins, too.
Excellent.
Sure.
So what are we looking at right now? And he'll look at Maggie.
At the moment, it seems to be just a feeding room. I have a sneaking suspicion about where Gray may be.
Is Gray here? Oh my god.
Perhaps a discussion once we leave.
And he'll just kind of cock an eyebrow. Okay.
So he's not here?
Sorry?
So he's not here?
No. Though I think his partner may be. She kind of glances over in the direction of Victor.
Interesting. He's here.
Apparently he's putting on a new exhibit soon. One of his best. Something about angels.
She'll smirk a little bit and look at Matt. Another exhibit. Another angel exhibit,
And no Molotovs to save my life.
You know, I haven't seen Gray in a while. Wasn't he one of Victor's proteges all of a sudden?
Hearing some of the conversation over the earpiece, Sophie's going to begin the song Everybody Loves My Baby by the Boswell Sisters.
That is a story for another time. Let's just get through my section of the book.
She's gonna glance at Victor. And then she's gonna do she's just gonna do one of those sharp whistles to see if he reacts. Like quiet sharp whistles.
So she gestures in the direction of Victor, but Victor is on the balcony.
Oh, okay. But I can see him on the balcony?
No, she just kind of gestured toward the direction, but Victor shouldn't be in line of sight of you
Gotcha.
right now if you guys met inside.
He's one of our family, right?
I believe so.
Oh. Then he's
Of course,
probably listening.
True.
He seemed fairly caught up in conversation about financials when I was listening.
You hire people to do that part for you. What's wrong with him? Is there food around here?
Yes, I believe so. On the balcony.
All right. And she's just going to look at Matt. You have fun. I'm going to go to the balcony. Call me when you're ready to show off.
Be
absolutely.
careful. They seem to be drugged.
You don't know who I'm married to, do you?
I am unaware of your partners.
Drugs are fine. And she's just gonna walk off.
She heads toward the balcony, leaving Maggie and Matthew. What are you doing at this moment?
And he'll just kind of watch as Carmen walks off to the balcony, and then he'll look at Maggie. Well, since my date is taking care of her lady needs, I will... That sounded wrong, didn't it?
It did. It's almost like you said that if she went and powdered her
Yeah,
nose or had
yeah.
her time of the month. Please.
Let's just...
Shall we...
Yeah.
Do you want to wait for your date, or do you want to remain upstairs or go downstairs, or...
I think I should just rip the Band-Aid off. And he'll look towards the exhibit section.
Do you want me to go with you?
Would it make you feel better if you went with me?
I'm asking you a question.
You also said don't do anything reckless, and if you're there, less likely.
Then I will follow you.
Okay.
Well then. Allons-y.
Maggie will start heading toward the exhibit section.
You step in, immediately on your right. You recognize this, not one you've done, but one you very early on in your career. Actually, it's the first piece you stole with Louie. One of Rembrandt's self-portraits. Almost feeling it kind of peering through you as you step into the exhibit. Where did... You step into the exhibit. Many of the paintings are illuminated by dim spotlights, kind of creating deep shadows. As you are kind of watching, the shadows almost seem to be creating the illusion as if many of these paintings, like the self-portrait, almost seem to be moving with you, watching as you move through the space. You find a couple other portraits, the anatomy lesson of Dr. Nicholas Tulp, the Night Watch, there's the self-portraits. You find a couple that are your own takes on some of these portraits. Portrait of a Nobleman, The Return of the Prodigal Son. It looks like he managed to have taken things directly from your collection, and almost all of the pieces that you're seeing, he is tied to in some fashion. Whether you did them with him, did them for him, all of the art in this exhibit is connected to Louie.
Matt will kind of look around, just Matthew, Jordan, Halden, this is your life.
Feels very strange to be around someone when they government name themselves.
Well, that one, and he points to the self-portrait, that wasn't Matthew. That was Jean-Luc Renard. That one over there. That one was Ivan Gulkin. When I say I have been many people, Miss Haywood, every one of these is a different life entirely.
And he seems to have followed you through all of them.
I'd be flattered, except for the fact that he took it all from me.
I'd be worried about your flattery if he hadn't taken it all from you.
So then, I'm actually glad you're here, Maggie. Let's go exorcise a ghost.
All right.
Please give me wits and awareness rolls. Sophie, you as well.
That is 3 successes.
Spent a will, got 4.
Spent a will, got 4.
As you begin to turn to look for what you will, Matthew, you see for the briefest moment an older gentleman in a brown suit. They are much older than the last time you saw them, but that is them. As Louie turns, he makes eye contact with you, and turns and moves out of view. Maggie, as you guys are turning, you suddenly hear a clicking sound. Very rhythmic. Somewhere nearby. Sophie.
Okay.
Sophie, as you're singing, you look up and you see Ezekiel Thorne, the true name of your grandsire given to you by Gabriel, sitting on the opposite side of the room, smiling as he drinks from a glass. What is everybody doing?
Does the clicking sound familiar?
It's like a clock. Like the hands ticking 1 second after the next. But you don't see a
Maggie.
clock in in the room anywhere.
Yeah, knee-jerk reaction is that it's a bomb, so Maggie's kind of looking around.
Matt is just hyper-focused in the direction that Louie went. He wants to go bolting, but he's trying to restrain himself for right now.
Sophie?
Sophie's going to sing "Don't Fence Me In."
You begin singing, and he smiles again and puts a hand up, and he turns and walks away. Maggie, give me an intelligence and investigation.
Okey-doke.
And Matthew, you go to follow. As you step out, you see him on the other side of the stairs, heading back toward the crowd and beginning to move downstairs.
Matt will kind of lean on the railing, just for let him get a few paces ahead, and then he will follow.
You follow him. He goes down past the entrance, turning into the lounge. You see him walk past the band and into a corner room.
Matt's gonna look around to see if there's anybody out of place, like any of his friends nearby.
You
He'll
see
activate.
a familiar police officer standing in the corner wearing an all-black suit.
And he'll walk up. You guys must get those in bulk.
He's waiting for you.
And he will smile. And does he have any kind of weapons on him?
The guard?
Yeah.
He seems unarmed.
He will look at him, just kind of. And he'll kind of lean in. Go take a walk outside. And he'll use Mesmerize.
Okay, give me the roll.
And I'm going to Blood Surge. Not get hungry. Four.
You give the command. You see there's a moment where he smiles, recognizing what it is that you just tried to do, but then there's a moment where he seems to kind of fade for a second. And then he walks past you, heads toward the entrance, and steps out of the building. Sophie, this is in line of sight of your stage for the most part. You are playing, you see him approach, and you see that similar pulse of light that you saw when a similar activity was taken when they were dressed like the police. But when the gold it's almost as if it crumbled almost immediately. Instead of just like a outburst of light, it almost turned to vibrant dust as Matthew just blows past the defense.
Sophie is going to start her song, "The Way You Look Tonight," and she's going to point to different people in the crowd, and she's going to point to Mr. Hodges and try to get eye contact.
Sure. You get eye contact with Mr. Hodges.
Okay, and she's going to continue to bring the crowd's attention to various people in the audience.
Okay. He kind of watches you as you go through your performance. This will be the last song of this set before the band goes on break. The guard goes away. What does Matthew do?
He takes a look, seeing that he's walking out, and then he goes further in.
You step into the office. You clock on both sides of you. There are individuals dressed in black, similar to the one you just dismissed. And sitting at, well, Duncan's desk is Louie.
You know, if you'd wanted a reunion so bad, you could have just called.
Well, that perhaps could have been a route I'd taken, but Matthew, no, right?
The one and only.
Hmm. You were harmless. You were supposed to be harmless. So I left you alone. After everything, I left you alone. And you did the right thing by leaving Mina. But you couldn't help yourself. You had to keep allowing that little window open. You had to keep contact. You couldn't do what I did and leave entirely. No. You had to cling. And now she's dead. I treasured her as I treasured you. You haven't aged a day.
Fine one. Sadly, I can't say the same for you.
That's the thing about the natural world. All things come to an end.
He'll look between the two that are tucked in the corners. afraid I'm going to do something, Louie.
Don't worry, if I had the intention to let them kill you, I'd have gone and already told them to do so. They are here in case you get a little antsy. See, I was never much of the... I didn't do a whole lot of field work, which I'm sure you remember. I stood back and I'd watched. I've watched for years. But you taught me that watching just lets more people get hurt. You should have stayed in prison. This wouldn't have happened to you. I'm sorry I couldn't make the charges last you longer.
Oh, God. I spent 8 years waiting for this moment. I spent a very good portion of my life hating you for that. I'll tell you what. You send Humpty and Dumpty here out. They can stay by the door if they'd like. But I'd really like to have a conversation with you one-on-one and not worry about trigger-happy goons.
He nods toward them, and they step out of the room. He gestures toward the seat on the other side of the table. Let's have our conversation. From here, we'll pan out for a moment, Maggie. As you go around trying to follow the source of that ticking, you do hear there's a couple. It was hard for you to tell at first, but now you kind of hear it just a little off, just like almost right in tandem. As you finally find one, the noise is coming from behind the self-portrait.
Okay. She's going to kind of speak into the earpiece. There's a bomb behind one of the pictures.
And Sophie will cut the last chorus of the song and say, some of you, we have some installations in the garden and at the front of the manor. The band is going to take a break if you don't mind enjoying that art at the front of the manor and in the garden. Thank you.
The man in the black suit kind of raises up. Everything, I assure you, is perfectly fine if you will just tend to the garden. We will have everything cleared up in just a few moments. I insist, and I need Sophie. who also be in earshot. I think you two would be safe. Just a moment. So I need you guys to give me intelligence and resolve. Or Sophie, intelligence and resolve.
Can I blood surge this roll?
You may.
Five successes using willpower.
Okay. You feel this wave of almost overpower you for a moment, but you're familiar with this. And you are able to resist it in this moment. You see Hodges resists it and looks over at the individual, and then everybody else just immediately snaps and starts heading to the garden. And then he adds, however, if the VIPs would return to the balcony. And the kindred affected stop and move up the stairs. And he turns toward you, raises his shoot, and then makes his way upstairs.
Sophie will act like she's heading toward the balcony and then will try to sidestep toward where she last saw Maggie.
Maggie would be upstairs now.
Okay, sorry, then she will head to where Maggie is.
Okay. You make your way up. There's a few people still up there in the exhibit. Maggie is standing by the self-portrait at the entrance.
Maggie is going to kind of glance over at Sophie and give it a short nod and return her attention to the painting. She's kind of assessing the frame. Does it look like there are any, like, triggering mechanisms?
On the painting itself,
Or,
no.
like, the frame?
Like, around the painting, as far as you can tell, you don't see anything.
Okay. She's going to kind of gingerly pull it back a little to see behind it.
You see that there's a little cubby in the wall behind the painting. When you pull the painting further back, you do see there's a device there. Give me, we'll call it another intelligence investigation.
Okay. Three successes.
There is no timer visibly on the device, but next to it, you see like an old style like alarm clock. But looking at the device itself, it doesn't look like it actually has any timer connected to it. This is likely a remote activated device, and it kind of comes to you that perhaps this was the little clock here. Now that you are near it, it is very soft. It is very quiet. This was designed to get attention by someone like you. They wanted you to know this is here.
Okay, well, they got what they wanted. Can I have a magnet? Like, can I have one in, like, her bag? As part of the ritual components that she has?
Like, I think a small magnet would probably be fine, but if it's anything of, like, a significant fact, I would probably say no.
Okay. She's just trying to figure out a way to deactivate this. Yeah. Because even if it's a distraction, it is still something that can do harm.
I think you'll see this. This is less of, I mean, obviously there's the distracting of, like, the imminent possibility of this thing going off. But I think by telling that it is remote and that they wanted you to see it, I think it's more along the lines of, like, you are in a public space and know that we have a gun on you. More of the situation. To deactivate, if you want to try to deactivate the bomb, I guess as battery would probably do it, but let's see. I'd probably do intelligence and tech if you wanted to attempt to do that. But success is fine, but if you fail badly enough, you might activate it and make a trigger.
Okay. She will call over the microphone. Do you want me to try to deactivate it?
Do you know much about bombs?
Some.
How big is it?
Small.
Yeah, like about the size of, like, a hand.
Well, I suppose at least it's probably not nuclear, unless your technology has advanced that far.
Matthew. Yes or no?
Matt's gonna sit and he's gonna kind of cross his hands. You know? And he's gonna emphasize no.
He's gonna put the painting back over it.
And he'll just kind of shake his head. You had such an elegant way of doing things. You were surgical. But really, Louie? Really? A bomb?
Bomb is a last resort. If the surgery doesn't go well.
So I'm guessing you just... What, got the remote in your pocket, just in case you don't get your
No.
way?
Not me, that'd be too easy.
You always were smart. I'm not sure who's got it worse. You having to live life thinking that I was trying to hurt you in some way, or me having lost everything. Do you remember? Remember when we were looking at that Caravaggio for you in Toulouse? You were so hell-bent on getting your hands on that thing. We spent weeks scoping that place out. And the one night, while we were coming back, it was one of the few times you'd actually come out with us. And that guard found us. I don't know where the hell he came from. And the only thing I could think of, the only thing that was on my mind, was making sure you two got out of there okay. I hopped so many areas, jumped over a roof to try to lead that guy away from you guys. Twisted my ankle and limped 5 miles back to Port Neuf where we were going to meet up. And when I saw you two standing there, it was like, thank God that worked. My plans never worked perfectly. Ever. But as long as we got out reasonably intact, I would have given myself up for either of you or both of you in a heartbeat. There wasn't a day that went by where I wouldn't have given my life to make sure both of you were safe. And unfortunately, and he'll kind of reach up and pull the necklace out and kind of fiddle with it. I wasn't quick enough this time. So yes, I'm the reason she's gone. But you know what? You're responsible too. It is just as much your fault as it is mine. I loved her. You were like a brother to me. I would have given anything to have you both stay in my life.
To give away everything so that you could have one.
Oh, so tough love, huh? Hurt me to help me?
The night after the job, when we were all laying low. Something, well, I thought it was someone, perhaps an investigator, caught your tail. I've been following you around for about a week. I found them. And it almost killed me. If not for a couple people who would become very close friends of mine hadn't stepped in. I think you know these creatures as Nosferatu. They'd taken an interest in you, Matthew. You're very good at moving in the dark. They wanted you. They didn't want Mina. They didn't want me. They wanted you. So I thought if I let you rot in a cell so that you might not be as useful to them. So I told them where the warehouse was. I'm removing it so Mina wouldn't be there. And I let them take you. And then you fucked off and let them turn you anyway. But you were harmless. You just kept doing as you do. Not killing. And I was sworn to observe. Not to interact, so I did. But I never stopped watching you. I never stopped checking on Mina.
So you tried to save my life.
To no avail, it seems. But now you're a danger to yourself and those around you, whether you care for them or not. You proved me wrong. None of you are safe. We can't coexist. You're parasites. And you're right. I do bear some responsibility for Mina. Mina's dead because I didn't have the heart to kill you sooner.
She would be so disappointed in both of us.
I accepted that. I accepted that you would hate me for as long as you lived, or whatever the fuck it is you are now.
He's gonna slowly stand up. Is this one of the rooms we hid the stakes in?
It is indeed in the corner behind Louie.
I didn't have a plan coming in here because I knew you would see through every damn plan I'd ever come up with. Hell, you helped me make most of them.
Plans were never really your style.
No, they were yours. I was just a guy that was good at stealing stuff. And he will walk over around the desk and just kind of hold his hands up. So now what? You end me and move on?
No. I don't make it out of St. Pete, I'm afraid. I'm sure you'll take some reassurance in that. But no. Tonight I leave a gift with St. Pete. I hope you treated yourselves to the services provided this evening.
Actually, I was perfectly content when I walked in. Did you cater?
We did tonight.
Oh. Wow, you really went all out. Is there anything on... Is there anything kind of sharp and stabby enough on the desk?
The desk is mostly cleared off. You notice he doesn't turn his head up to look at you at all. He's staring at the door.
And he'll walk up behind him. He'll activate heightened senses. Just try to get a bead on the people outside.
Their backs are on the wall next to the door. They're just on the other side. As you get in position behind him, you like my little brother. And that is why I'm sorry I couldn't do this to you before. You shouldn't have had to continue to exist like this. You shouldn't have had to let Mina die. You are right, it is my fault.
I promised I wouldn't do anything reckless.
At the sound of hearing Matthew say that, Sophie is going to grab Maggie's hand and just start running away from the balcony.
Maggie will kind of stop and look back. We have to get Miss Alvarez.
Right, yes. Did you see where she last was?
I'll go get her.
Okay, you should be quick.
You guys head up to the balcony. As you step out there, you see Victor kind of leaning on the balcony a little bit, kind of looking outward, and you see Carmen approaching.
Hi.
Miss
Carmen,
Alvarez.
real quick, which 1, 2, 3, or 4? Which person did you drink from?
3.
3. That one would be the alcohol. Dexterity and intelligence dice pools decreased by 1.
All right. Hi.
Miss.
I was saying Carmen is approaching Victor.
Oh,
He's not aware
yeah.
of you yet.
Oh.
So you're Victor. I've heard so much about you.
He kind of turns around. Miss Alvarez.
Yeah.
You're the one who...
Would have met.
the-
I'm the one who you would have met so much sooner if you had just invited me to that first party. But no, you had to stop me, didn't you?
Oh, I figured you who, based on the portraits that you posted online, must not have had much of an appreciation for art, so I figured I'd let you enjoy your evening.
I always support family. And I hear that you've just got one of our little family members, Gray, wrapped around your little pinky. I haven't seen him much lately though, so where is he? Because he's got like some major investments in my club.
Oh, I am more than sure that he is quite fine. A busy little one, I must say. I assure you, whatever it is he's doing is much more important than whatever investments
See,
you believe he might be required to attain.
well,
attend
he
to.
invested some major promises to me.
So my point stands.
Oh, I think all of the.
I believe you are no longer the Herald of St. Petersburg, so I do understand that your value amongst the city has depreciated.
I may not be the Herald anymore, but I am a host of a succubus club, Mr. Adams.
That you are.
And
But
Helena
we are not in a
carries
succubus club
weight.
at the moment, are we?
No, we aren't. You're right.
Pleasure to make your acquaintance.
Oh, it was definitely something.
enjoy the rest of the evening, darling. I'm afraid I do have some business to discuss with my associate here.
Tell Gray to call me. I'm expecting it. After all, we all have our debts to pay.
We'll see.
Sophie will round the corner with Maggie, overhearing just the very end of that conversation, and say, Helena, yes, Helena of Troy, we must depart on ships.
Miss Alvarez, our ride is here.
Fine.
Please, we must make haste.
Calm
Yeah.
down.
Maggie will
She'll-
kind of tap her ear.
She'll activate heightened senses.
You can actually kind of pick up, well, my apologies. You pop off heightened senses and things almost seem to get duller, like things almost like you've put very loud muffs on. Your vision seems to blur a little bit, almost as if you're looking through beer goggles. And at this moment, as you look past Maggie and Sophie, you see a couple of individuals step out onto the balcony.
Are you alright?
I can't see very well right all of a sudden. You sound like you're underwater too.
Oh, alright, take my arm.
She'll
Offer her arm.
hesitate for a moment and then reluctantly take it.
Oh, please, ladies must put aside their grievances in a time of crisis. So, all right, let's go. Especially the way you're being affected, it could be a salt bomb. We've got to get out of here.
We're going to exit quietly and calmly. We are not running, Sophie.
As you're turning toward the door, you see there are 3 individuals in black standing in the doorway. You see the young woman who was drinking from them earlier. She's kind of just dancing on her own to that like cabaret music going on over the PA, and as she's kind of looking outward, one of them walks behind, kind of puts his arm around her shoulders, pulls her back out of view of the garden, immediately stakes her, and drops her on the ground. Completely unworried about anyone up here seeing it. They turn toward the rest of the balcony. Do you do anything in this moment?
Hunters.
Yes, that we should perhaps flee. I might be able to sneak out, but I can't quite get you as
We need to get going.
both.
The drug people. We gotta get going. Maggie will start walking faster, pulling along Carmen.
Carmen seems to kind of lurch a little bit before coughing up some blood into her hand.
Oh, that's not good. We're gonna have to burn that out of your system.
It's happening.
As you go, in order to take the door off the balcony, you will have to pass them. They're between you and the immediate exit.
Maggie, I might be able to take one. We'll have to set Carmen down if you want to take the other at the same time. Or, we could always take a tumble out the window.
You are on a balcony.
We could take a tumble.
Carmen, how do you feel about a jump?
Let's get the fuck out of here, because I am not letting some fucking kind kill me.
Alright, looks like
it's
we're jumping off
actually-
the balcony.
One of
yes.
them produces a crossbow.
Maggie will pull out her gun and shoot.
Pistol? Or handgun?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Dinner
Okay.
first.
Dex and firearms. What is Sophie doing?
If Maggie's pulling her pistol out to shoot, Sophie is trying to cover Carmen and keep her from falling over.
Okay. You have Carmen. At this moment, Matthew, you're standing behind Louie. He still isn't turned, he's still facing the door. You begin to hear gunfire. Outside, you hear it bang in your earpiece as you hear them say, "Hunters." Tumble off the balcony. You can tell your coterie's getting ready to bail. Something's escalating outside.
He's going to eye the spot where they hid the stake. And he's going to go towards it.
You go over, pull the stake out of the hidden spot. It is still there. Louie sits up straight, interlocks his fingers on the desk, still staring at the door. I hope what comes next brings you peace.
And he'll walk in front of the desk again, holding the stake. And he'll just You really didn't plan on making it out of here tonight?
I suppose wish for the end is something that both of us have in common. I'm just making sure mine means something.
All right, then. And he'll kind of just rock his shoulders back. This is going to hurt me a lot more than it's going to hurt you. And he's going to hold the stake up. And he's going to stab himself in the shoulder. And just let
Louie
out
tilts
this
his head.
scream.
Go ahead.
You are gonna have to live in the hell you make.
Understand that if you don't die tonight, and I somehow survive, I can't let you go.
You tried. Let's see how much you can keep up now, old man. And he's going to go up to the door and open it.
You go up to the door, open it into a room that has been emptied out of any kind or kindred. Where are you headed?
Are the two guys still there?
They're currently upstairs opening fire on your friends.
Ah, okay. He's going to just kind of nonchalantly walk out with the stake in his shoulder. And as soon as he gets anywhere, he's going to start screaming about this old guy freaking out and attacking him. And he doesn't understand what the hell is going on. So anybody with an earshot that might not be freaking out at the time, and as soon as he gets outside, he's going to make a scene.
Go ahead. Are you using any disciplines?
He's going to, if there's anybody that looks like they're going to try to stop him, he's going to pop awe. And if there's more than one, he's going to conjoin it with Melpomene.
We'll go back to the balcony. You fire the gun. A couple shots land. You see that it dealt some damage. Let's see here. The bolt fires, but it misses you as your bullets strike him. It flies off in the distance. The other two begin to charge forward. Are you guys bailing or are you staying to fight?
I'm fucking bailing. Fuck this place.
We are dipping out over the balcony.
Give me a dex and athletics. Go ahead.
So I'm going to dip out, but before we jump, I'm going to turn to one of the ones charging at us, and I'm going to point to his shoes and say, "Your laces, they're tied." I'm going to use dementation.
Okay. Give me manipulation and dominate. And a rush check, which you got.
I would like to attempt to blink off the balcony.
You blink?
I want to try because I don't know what's going on. I just know I don't feel well and there's hunters here, so I want to leave. And I want to leave in the quickest way possible. And the quickest way possible for me is to blink. I can't see. I can't hear. I want to go.
Yeah, give me a rouse check and a dex and athletics.
I got 3.
Okay, Dex and Athletics. With it's been a while since I have been a vampire. With do I add anything if I with Blink to Dex and Athletics, or is it just straight Dex and Athletics?
If you activate Fleetness, you can add your celerity rating.
Yeah, no, it's just it
Okay.
doesn't add anything. You would need to do something like fleetness, yeah.
Okay. I forget. It's been a while since I've actually used celerity, so I meant to activate Fleetness then. It's still a rouse check. So Dex and Athletics, and then I can add my celerity? Okay.
Are you doing Blink or are you doing Fleetness?
Fleetness. I thought Fleetness was the one that gave me. Sorry. Yeah. Fleetness. I'm gonna bolt as fast as possible off the balcony. Dex and Athletics. Okay.
Okay, so in this case, mechanically, that's not going to behave properly.
Oh,
so you
okay.
activate Fleetness. I need you to subtract your score.
Oh. Boy. Dex. Oh boy. Hang
to
on.
a minimum of 1.
Okay, hang on. I got the roll.
Mhm.
2 successes. That's all I can get.
Okay.
I have 1 success with a possible bestial failure.
Eat someone.
My own shoes are tied.
My own shoes. Everyone's shoes are tied.
No,
I
shoelaces
think-
are out to get you.
You try to demontate this individual. As you make eye contact, they're approaching you with a stake. You call upon that ability within you, but when it goes to activate instead, suddenly your senses become overwhelmed. As everything seems to kind of like slow in a weird sense, your clan compulsion activates. As you're kind of staggering back, you are watching simultaneously this person charging at you, but also a premonition of the entire building seems to simultaneously be exploding outward, ripping through everybody here. You see several bits of debris puncture yourself as you kind of stagger back a little bit. This next roll is going to have a penalty. I need a Dex and Athletics. But there's going to be a 2 success penalty.
So that's 4 successes, so with the penalty, that's 2 successes.
Correct. Okay. As you're kind of like staggering back from the overwhelming sensation, this guy charges forward. You feel the puncture of a stake go into your chest. But because of your movement, it misses your heart as you stagger back, falling over the railing off the balcony below, taking 3 superficial damage. Maggie, what was your Dex and Athletics roll?
3.
3. Okay. Easy enough. You managed to kind of flip over and Carmen got 2. As you go over the rail, everything is really just not... Yeah, because you have the alcohol variant. Yeah, so you fall down and you do take 1 superficial damage as you slam into the ground.
Gotcha.
You begin to pick yourself up. People are kind of looking outward. Sophie, you have a stake in your chest. You can almost feel your heart kind of pulsing against it. People are seeing you from the garden, and people begin to panic and run into the building. We will wrap this up when we come back. Thank you all for tagging along so far.
St. Petersburg by Night is brought to you through collaborations with our partnered vendors: Wolfpack Dice, Ember Fox Dice, Dragon Ink Dice, Farrah the Bard, Champs Tramps, Pantry Artista, Chromatic Creations. Links to our partnered vendors, as well as our Twitch and YouTube channels, can be found on our website, stpbynight.com. The official theme song for St. Petersburg by Night is Vampire by Faith and Failure. You can find them at faithandfailure.com. You can follow St. Pete by Night on all socials with the hashtag St. Pete by Night. If you wish to support our program, you can do so at ko-fi.com/St. Pete by Night to help keep the stories rolling.
And welcome back. Last we left off, it seems that the hunters have contaminated the food. Carmen, who had consumed from one of the vessels, seems to be struggling to use her disciplines and is coughing up vitae. Sophie, Maggie, and Carmen have bailed off the roof. Sophie currently kind of experiencing a, in real time as things are happening, premonition. Maggie seems to be the only one who seems to have mostly maintained their cool as we progress into the next scene. And Matthew has staked himself in the shoulder and intends to go make a scene. And that is where we'll pick up. As you are heading toward a place where you think people might be, suddenly a torrent of people come running in from the gardens. They see you with a stake in your shoulder, which doesn't seem quite as traumatic as the lady who had a stake in her chest a moment ago that they just saw fall from the balcony. They go charging, but then you pop off. So when that happens, let's see. Yeah. Go ahead and give me the roll.
I am going to Blood Surge. I do get hungrier. Just 3.
Okay. There are some people that seem to be kind of like their eyes flying toward you, paying attention to the stuff you're saying, but there are still quite a few that are charging deeper into the building. About this moment, somebody is standing at the door. And move over to the pool room. That'll be the safest place. We'll lock things down until the authorities arrive. And you see this person kind of guiding them to the pool room.
Matt's gonna go up to him. The old guy in the office, he did this. And he did this. He's lost his mind.
He puts his hand on your shoulder. Everything is going to be just fine. And you feel that there's something between your shoulder and his hand. As you turn to look, he clicks a button. As the exhibit begins to explode and the ceiling and part of the building collapses on top of the pool room.
Well, shit. You guys need to have name tags.
He steps out of the doorway. We argued quite a bit as to whether or not we should actually try to kill you tonight. He rolls up his sleeves a little. But his plan seemed a little bit more interesting.
We did have a way.
How many strikes is that against you now, Mr. Halden?
Oh,
Obviously, we don't have eyes within your little dolly museum too much. You made sure to kill one of them. But we know they can't be too happy with all the things that seem to be blown up around you.
No, yeah, you guys really painted me in a corner here. So what, I'm guessing all you guys got those fancy toys?
Which toys are you referring to?
Whatever it is you just used to make that go boom.
Oh, no, just me, the one who watched the door.
Oh, cool. Well then. And he's going to attempt to mesmerize him and tell him to give me the device.
Yeah, give me the roll.
I'm gonna rouse this one as well. Why not? Ouch, that's gonna hurt, but why not? Six, and I used a willpower.
You see him kind of smiling at you for a moment, and then all of a sudden he holds a hand out and puts the detonator in your hand.
You can get this back when you learn how to play with others.
He just kind of sits there for a moment, still kind of in a haze.
And then he's going to... Is he between the exit, or is another way he can go?
He stepped out, like he kind of moved out of the way of the exit. Like you are clear to leave the building.
Okay, then he's going to run out. And as he's running out, he's going to talk into the earpiece. Where is everyone?
Where are we?
You guys are on the back of the building. Outside. Basically, that little little patio area that you guys came in with the band, you're pretty much right next to that now. Around the side of the building.
Okay. Maggie's gonna go over and yank the steak out of Sophie. We're around the back of the building.
Sophie's gonna push her hand and says, "Leave it in. It's worse if you pull it out. Leave it in."
Our injuries do not work that way, Sophie. Miss Alvarez is drugged.
Get clear.
We're moving. Where are you?
In the front, I think, right? I went to the front.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you guys regroup, or are you just taking off in different directions?
We would know if Matthew's able to hotwire a car, right?
It's not his forte, but he could give it a shot.
Because otherwise, Maggie's just going to usher Armin and Sophie somewhere else. Back to the, probably taking the van that they arrived in.
You gotta clean this up.
I have a way of doing that.
I'm
Including
sorry,
a fall guy?
It's ruined. There's a hole through the dress.
I don't fucking care about the dress. You need a fall guy.
We will find one, Miss Alvarez. There was a lot of murder. I am capable of covering it.
You hear sirens in the distance.
Fuck.
Maggie will start pulling out her phone. She's gonna start making some calls and using her particular skills.
Okay. We will resolve that. We'll come back to that. You guys do... There's the van that you mostly arrived in with the band, which won't be needing it anymore. There's also the limousine that is waiting for Carmen and Matthew.
I'm heading for the van.
Okay. You all regroup at the van. Again, you can hear the sirens approaching. You look back. You see the guy in red struggling a little bit to fight with somebody on the balcony as you're moving away. And you watch as a stake punctures through his back as Victor bails from the balcony and takes off in another direction. Sophie, give me what's awareness.
Three successes.
You hear a thumping sound kind of in the back of your head for a moment. And then you turn your head almost as if someone's tapping your shoulder, and you see stumbling out of the front door is Ezekiel. It seems he has been drugged in a similar fashion as Miss Alvarez.
Maggie, wait.
We do not have time, Sophie.
If we take him, he'll owe a boon, right?
If you make him owe a boon, and if he honors it...
I think he'll have to. If he's trying to play the accounting. Let him in.
Sophie, I have to make calls. If you want to let him in, but do it quickly.
Okay. Sophie's gonna reach for the back of the van, open the back door, and she's just going to sing out as best she can in her raspy, lung-punctured voice. I guess Little White Lies, and she's gonna try to get Ezekiel's attention.
Give me charisma performance.
It also was in
Because
the.
he currently is also affected after trying to use heightened senses. What was that? Lekar?
Was the van wasn't in the front, was it? We all regrouped in the front, or
The van would have been kind of like front to the side. You could see it from where you come out.
Matt would have seen them going towards the van then.
Okay.
And he would have went up to the limo driver and taken the he would have cloud memoried him and told him just to, he didn't need him for the rest of the night, just he could go.
He kind of turns, looks at you, make the command. He goes, yes, sir. You enjoy the rest of your evening. And he takes off. Oh, no. You make your way back toward the van. 3 successes on... Oh, no, 5. Okay.
I have 5 successes with a messy critical.
Okay. You sing out, trying to push past your injury. You will succeed to get his attention, but by pushing past what you technically can at the moment, I think you are going to take another 2 superficial damage as you feel muscle and tendon that you typically don't really think about when you sing rip and rend further as you use these muscles.
I forget when it comes to damages. It's superficial is half of the health box, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I have 5 health, having 5 superficial isn't
Means
as
you'll
bad.
then start taking aggravated.
Okay. I'm at 5 superficial.
Okay. Your voice gets through, and you do kind of have this moment where it seems like you almost visibly see a sync between the two of you as he kind of pops his head up, and it's almost like he can't see, but he follows the voice. Sophie, is that you?
Get in the van, and I get to choose my accountant. And I don't mean for taxes.
Be a dear and help me into the van.
I don't think I can't get in here.
He struggles around for a moment, but eventually manages to find the door. Everyone accounted for. Closes. Who's driving?
Probably me.
Okay. The only non-injured and non-drugged party member of this party gets behind the wheel and begins to drive. Matt, as you are seeing the car pull off, you see in the window Louie has kind of opened the blinds and is watching as you pull away.
He looks back, and he's holding the device in his hand. He could end this right now, but it would only make matters worse. You are so fucking lucky she wouldn't want me to. We need a fall guy?
Yes.
How about a senile old man who tried to blow up an art exhibit?
Name.
Louie Treacher.
Thank you. Maggie would continue making her phone calls through her lore sheet and her contact. There's a lot of dead people to cover up here.
Can Matt disable the remote so it doesn't accidentally go off at any point in time?
Once you guys drive far enough away, it ends up exiting the range that it would be able to trigger.
I guess you're gonna have a lot more shades in that big tornado, aren't you?
Yes, this is going to be a larger problem. But I'm not worried about that right now. Ms. Alvarez, or would you like me to take you?
Pink Barrel.
Gotcha. Maggie's gonna drop
No.
Carmen off.
Wait.
Hmm.
Take me to my nightclub. Then she's just struggling to text Charlie.
What do you text?
Hurt. Need a place to lie down safely. But I don't want them to follow to Pink Barrel. They already know where Carmen is. And then, like, I'll also text, like, an emoji for a guy, and then, like, a hunting rifle, and then, like, a target.
Okay. Drop her off at the nightclub. Where do you take the rest of the group?
We're going to drive around for a little while. It's going to do loops around the city. About an hour. They get to listen to her, make phone calls and the like.
Could you remind me the name of that lure shoot?
Harbingers of Ashur, 2 dots. I got get the equivalent of 4 dots of influence when attempting to cover up a death. He did kill a lot of people in that room when he collapsed the building on them. If that doesn't work, she also has a detective contact and a dot in influence within law enforcement.
Okay. Go ahead and give me a roll. For the contacts. Charisma, persuasion. Yeah. But your contact will come into account for the difficulty.
Okay. Kind of blood surge. That'd be 5 successes. Nice got double power.
As you reach out, your special contact they go ahead and they'll agree to help you in this case.
Mm-hmm. And I give them the name.
Your other contacts agree to help try to get things off your track. But when you give them that name, both contacts tell you this person's been dead for about 5 years.
She would thank them for that information.
I think with that, that's when it dawns on you. This guy has been using the aliases of Matthews.
Yep. She would wrap up these conversations and make sure that everything is covered up as well as it can. Hang up her phone. Look back at Matthew. Is he like in... This is like a van. I don't know how many rows of seating there are. But is he like in a near seat?
I think he would probably be here on the passenger and the rest would be in the back.
Okay. Maggie's going to look at him, put her hand on his shoulder, and then dig her thumb into the spot where she knows that the stake went in.
Yes, Maggie. You have something to say?
What did you do? She'll let go.
And he'll hold up the device. Utilized self-control so we didn't make matters worse.
Good job. But you said his name like he's still alive.
I mean, he looked old as hell, but...
Legally, he's been dead for 5 years. He's been using your names.
He's been doing this to get to me. So if you need names, I will burn all of them.
Good, we need to figure out which one he is currently using.
And he will list off various aliases from several countries, including the two that he gave while they were walking around, Yvonne Gulkin and Jean-Luc Renard.
I will look through these. I will see if there's any of these that are particularly active right now. Do you have a mask that he does not know about?
Apparently not anymore.
We will need to invest in one for you then.
I guess you're getting your way. Or you're getting your wish, I should say.
I don't want to have to get my way with this with you.
So what
Was he the one that set off the bomb?
He didn't directly. One of his underlings did. And I managed to coerce the device out of his hands before he could do any more damage. And I gotta tell you, Maggie, for a brief moment, I was tempted. One little push, and it would have ended all my problems. But it would have just made worse. So instead of me literally making my problems go up in a plume of glorious smoke and flame, I want that son of a bitch to rot for whatever life he has left.
Well, then we'll find which name he's using currently. I do still need a fall guy. However, a lot of people died, Matthew. And I'm not sure if that means anything to you.
It means plenty.
Good. Then you're going to help me. Because this is going to make my problem bigger.
Whatever you need.
Thank you. I don't feel comfortable going back to the Ascent. Do you two have places I can drop you off, or would you like a drawer?
Prefer have something that can lock for this one, and Sophie points at Ezekiel.
The drawers lock. If he has any kind of strength, they will not withstand it.
You saved me from a burning building to lock me in a box?
Oh, I wouldn't lock you in there for long. It's just for our safety.
I suppose I am at the whim of my saviors.
And I believe the proper thing to say when a lady has had a near-death experience and saved you from burning debris and becoming debris yourself is thank you.
My apologies. I didn't realize that we gave thanks for exchanges. Thank you, Sophie. He will sit quietly for the rest of the ride.
Maggie will look back at Matthew and then Sophie. Neither of you answered my question. You don't need to show me where you live. You just need to tell me if you need to be dropped off somewhere or if I am taking you home with me.
You know my place. I just don't want to bring Mr. Thorne there. Especially when I don't want you to run off and try to blame this all on us to get us on further trial, like you did before.
Are you insinuating I blamed you for something?
It's obvious that you talked with Gabriel and got us blamed for Edwin's passing.
I told them exactly what happened. I followed you back to the office. I was redirected by Mr. Halden here, and then saw the two of you rush past me, which, turns to Halden, clearly was deceit, and charged into a room where there was a riot of angry ghouls and vessels. I didn't blame you for anything, I simply stated what happened to me.
Well, you see my point.
As I said, I am at the whim of my saviors. I wouldn't dare drink to disrespect the generosity you've offered me.
Is it too
If
late
you
to
wish
turn
to
around
put
and put
me
him
in a
back?
box, sure, I'll wait.
Like I said, I don't want to just dump him on the side of the road. He'll probably run off to Gabriel and tell him everything that just happened to him tonight, and somehow we will all become blamed.
Mr. Ezekiel, was it?
Ezekiel's fine.
You may stay in my haven. The drawers are not comfortable, but they do.
I do not wish to impose. If you wish to leave me, I can find my way home from here, but if this does make you more comfortable for me to remain in one of your places, I will be happy to oblige.
It makes Sophie more comfortable, so if you would not mind.
It would make
As you
Sophie
are.
more comfortable. Therefore, we insist.
It would make me most comfortable if you were in torpor during it, but I am not in the habit of trapping people that don't want to be trapped.
No, that was more of your brother's thing, wasn't it?
Fathers.
I don't think
Not even fathers, sire.
Kristoff tortured Duncan.
No, but Kristoff kept me in a for a very long time when he didn't even have to.
I did not know he was going to keep you that long.
Oh, sure. I'm sure you just abandon your children for 80 years and never talk to them.
I didn't abandon him. He abandoned me. He asked me a favor. He wanted a childer, and he saw something in you. He asked me to retrieve you. I did as such. And I never heard of any of you again. But then I heard the
Sure.
name Sophie Clews. It's come across my desk. A very long time after. And I had associates that were coming from Chicago. So I decided to tag along. Maybe I could find out what happened to dear Christoph.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not the one that he was contacting.
Nope. I lost complete contact the moment I shipped you off.
That wouldn't even make sense. You're obviously just trying to manipulate me. So just shut up. Let's just go.
You sure you don't want to meet your aunt? Oh, I'll shut up. Where does everyone get dropped off?
I would rather not split the party, so I would go with Maggie.
Is everyone except Sophie taking a drawer?
No, I was also taking a drawer.
Okay, well, I guess we're having a slumber party.
Okay. As you all tend to your wounds and climb inside your drawer for the evening, or day, we'll go ahead and shift to our final scene. You return to the manor. It looks as if more of it has collapsed. You see a lot of people. There are many dead. But there are survivors being carted away from the rubble. You see Louie being escorted out of the debris by a police officer, assuring them that they're okay, go help the others, make sure everyone else is safe. I'm fine, go on. They leave him alone. He kind of takes a moment and he looks at the house. He reaches into his pocket, pulls out his phone. He dials a number and pulls it to his ear. It's done. Go ahead and make the swap. Dump the clean blood. Make sure our van gets to the hospital. Good luck. Hangs up the phone and continues to watch the building burn as people are pulled out from inside of it. Enjoy your gift, Matthew. And he turns and he walks off into the tree line by the house. And that is where we end tonight's session. Thank you for tagging along. We will see you all in the next chapter.
This has been a St. Petersburg by Night production. Bloody Strings is produced in agreement with the World of Darkness and Darkback. The storyteller for Bloody Strings is Devlin. Tonight's characters were voiced by Kyrie, Noree, Lekar, Truckexe, Kendall, and MissyMew. Visit our website at stpbnight.com for more information about all of our productions and how you can become part of our community. Thank you for listening. Until next time, fangs, stakes, and claws out.